Remember the last devlog where I showed this area? Now this is how it turned out. Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm sitting in a very dark room right now, but I'm still the creator of Paper Clay, a 3D collectathon where you rotate and unfold your way through a world that's made out of cardboard, clay, paper, and other handcrafted materials. You help out characters with their problems while looking for the lost eggs that's been spread around across the world. I do have a Steam page as well, so if you want to go and wishlist it, it really helps out. Thank you. Now let's get on with the devlog, shall we? So the hub that's now decorated. It's not fully finished, but I think I've reached a point where I can move on to other parts of the game. Because right now I'm doing playtest with some friends and it's going good enough to convey my vision. An important piece of my vision is this waterfall. I want everybody to see it as they run through this tunnel. And hopefully make them understand that it can be quite playful. The game, that is. Not behaving exactly how you would expect a waterfall to behave. Some have asked how it's made, and so here we go. It's sadly not dynamic, so the height of the waterfall can't be changed as it is right now. It's using animations, and halfway through I realized how much work it would be. Honestly, I'm not sure if I know how to make it look good with shaders right now. Maybe in the future if we're lucky. But for now, I'm happy with how it turned out. Some particles and moving rolls of paper improved the waterfall. Let me know what you think in the comments. I knew I had a deadline at the end of September where a friend was going to play through the new demo, so to say. The not official one, by the way. So I had the perfect opportunity to test the real flow of the game. For those that don't know, you explore the hub area, helping characters and hopefully have fun. Then you enter a linear level and find the lost egg. So, my approach to actually finish this in time was to break it down in pieces. First step was to add some art everywhere and then replace it where it felt too bad. Obviously, I took a round on everything, but if I didn't have a good idea, I just added cardboard to cover up grid textures. Nobody would bother at this stage of development. I knew I was okay with changes in the future, but this helped me get past my usual art block. In Paper Clay, I wanted to have other types of levels for Nugget. I'm afraid that people will forget that it's a duo, so other than having his own levels, I'll make sure that he's a part of majority of the dialogues in the game, then also showing up here and there in some animations. But for now, here's one of the Nugget levels. Since this would probably be the first level like this that you encounter, I wanted to make sure that it's not filled with too many puzzles, and it's more about navigating the level. For those of you that remember, 3 years ago, when I worked on the first Paper Clay idea, this was the main gameplay, more or less. Only this. I'm glad that I eventually went back and used this idea for the current version of the game. I just want to clarify, I haven't worked on the game for 3 years yet, but anyway. I still need to solve it so you can't walk down from the edges because, well, you can get stuck right now, but I can probably decorate around that and solve that issue. People sometimes ask me how many of the levels that are finished, and they are surprised when I mention that the demo level isn't part of that list. I tell them that it's not living up to the design I had in mind, and then one friend asked me to go over what I didn't like, tell them about it. Turns out that I mostly didn't like the middle part where you need to reach a certain point, turn around, and then see the solution to your puzzle. Most people miss this and it feels kind of messy, and I was a little bit ashamed of my design. And that's where it clicked that I should just redesign those parts that I didn't like, because the level was still a good looking level. And like that, I had a new level, not fully finished yet, but I like this idea. So, when I now had a few levels and a hub area, I could probably feel the flow of the game, where you gain orbs and then enter these linear levels. I was a bit afraid to bore the player, so I added small things that you can do, such as unfolding pieces for a while, so you can jump up and then it folds back. I have a few ideas where you rotate smaller pieces or areas to mix it up. But the testers have never brought this up that they're bored. So far, they're really enjoying the game, which is comforting. A fun thing while testing is the debug tools. One time I had missed 3 coins and I couldn't find them all. So I made a tool that points to all collectibles and breakable boxes. I will never run into this issue again, I can guarantee it. Then I added some useful stuff like bypassing the orb limit for the levels so I could quickly jump in. It's fairly easy to add a new debug option as I think of more as I make the game. I'm just using a single script for all of this to keep it contained. I'm sure this is perfectly fine for now. And depending on your skill level, it will now take you between 40 to 80 minutes to grab all 4 eggs, and that's when the timer stops for the demo, and the timer is just there for the demo, not in the full game. So while the first world isn't fully representing the final version, since I'm using the pirate level that will come later in the game I'm using it as a filler right now, but I'm happy since I was hoping it would take around 1 hour to complete each world. I feel like this is now a good pace to change the environment to keep it fresh for the player. Sure, the mix of levels and what you do in them should also do that over time. I just need to find a balance so it doesn't feel like the game is just cool ideas thrown into a box that you jump around in. I've been here before with my previous game Hop Legs. I added almost every cool idea that I could think of. Quick example, I added time trials, local co-op, and a versus mode. The time spent making that content versus the amount of players that have tried it, let's not go further. It's good content that I'm proud of, but I've learned from that lesson, so we're not doing that again. For a while, I wanted to figure out how to make layered paper look great. I wanted a texture that was seamless, and so I started making individual pieces that I was going to lay out on the ground and then try to do some Photoshop magic. But I decided to make a script that would automatically place the individual layers just right above each other, and so it would be easier to work with. And when I was trying to demonstrate this, how it was set up, I ended up with this cool looking thing. While I'm not sure it will be used for something, I do plan to have patches of layered paper around in the level for the ground, or in this case, in the water to demonstrate the depth. It's not finished, but you get the idea, right? This is a milestone for Paperclay. I'm very happy that I can see people playing through a small portion of the game. While it's not final, I can see how it's going to work with the game structure. I might still have some tricks up my sleeve to hopefully make the game a little less predictable while still following this formula. I really appreciate that you watched this far in the video. If you haven't already, go wishlist Paperclay on Steam. Tell a friend about it. Who knows, it might strengthen your relationship. But until next time, take care. Bye.